What number are we doing it on?
Should
do it on bang on a minute?
Yeah.
Bang on 31. I've got live full time.
Nice. Well, hello, Pod Gang. Hello, Pygmy Goats. Hello, Goat Gang. Welcome to season 3 of season 3
cat in the background
of the Goat Podcast, aka the greatest podcast of all time, the greatest podcast that will ever and has ever exist, featuring as Vinny V-Dog Middlemost has already pointed out, Mon Chat, as I believe it's known in El Francais.
El Francais. Perfect.
Welcome back to season 3. If you're not new around here, if you are new around here, well, this is Goats, the show where every week we try and take a thing and pick the goat of it. It's a particularly highbrow concept, and it took us a long time to come up with. And we'll basically keep going until we either crown the greatest of all time of literally every subject, or one of us dies, or we get a book deal, whichever comes first. So I'm this week's host. My name's Seb. You might know me as one of the many producers on the hit podcast Red Handed, and I'm joined today by my two very close associates and acquaintances, Michael and V-Dog Vinny.
Hello.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Go all your bases.
I was going to ask how was everyone's Christmas, but that feels like a long time ago.
Yeah,
that was a really long time ago, actually.
Any big news?
Christmas is done. Any big news? No.
I hurt my wrist playing World of Warcraft last night. That's a real low point in my life.
That's not good. That's not good at all.
Good at all.
How did you manage that?
Do you what?
How did you manage that?
I don't know. It's just my wrist has been hurting all day today, and I think it's because of like repetitive strain injury or something. I'm literally like fucking, the kids from South Park in that episode where they're like no-lifing World of Warcraft.
That's so much funnier because I actually am, I think, getting repetitive strain injury in this finger from like real work, like using tools and bending cables and stuff. And you're like, fucking, your keybinds are too far away.
Okay, well,
that's so funny, man. That's so funny.
Well, that was a godlike story, Vinny. Speaking of gods, let's crack on with this.
What?
Speaking of gods, let's crack on with this week's subject.
Seb, why did you do a segue like that when you could have easily done a Christmas to God segue?
Because I said, did anyone do anything for Christmas? And you all said no. And then Vinny had a chat about fucking his wank wrist hurting. So I just freestyled it. Imagine if it had been like, well, you didn't do anything for Christmas, but if we were talking about Christmas, we could have talked about God. Speaking of gods, that wouldn't have been good, would it?
No.
So let's just go from where I was, shall we?
Okay.
I am, of course, the producer or one of the producers of the hit podcast Red Handed, and I know what I'm fucking doing, Michael.
All right. This is all staying in, all right.
Yeah, no, actually. And do you know what? The thing is I forgot. That's a really good point, Michael, because as you said, this is all staying in because we've had a bit of a shakeroo with a little bit of help from a friend. We have realised that it might be a bit more efficient and sort of sensible for us to put the videos of these podcasts out on YouTube. So if you want to watch this whole podcast, just go on YouTube. How fucking wild is that? You can see my cat. You can see Michael's workshop. You can see Vinny's gun bomb. You know? It's all there. It's just hiding in the darkness, the gun bong peeking out. Anyway, I've really rambled here. God, Jesus Christ. We were like, let's start this one without any rambling, and I've just rambled. Anyway, back in the room. Before we had science, gods were our explanation for existence. They explained why the sun shined, or our crops had failed, or why, for some reason, it was okay to stone women and gay people. Over the course of human history, there have been thousands of civilizations praying to tens of thousands of gods. But which god was best? Who had the coolest powers? Who had the sickest origin story? And most importantly, who had the tightest abs? Well, there's only one way to find out. And that's asking two people with little to no knowledge of the subject to ramble for about 15 minutes before you come to some sort of half-assed conclusion and then just crack on with the next episode. So, who wants to go first?
Me, please.
Well, Vinny V-Dog middlemost.
V-Dog's got his hand up.
After you. Well, you don't even need to say that he's got his hand up because obviously people can watch these.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
If you want to see V-Dog's injured World of Warcraft hand.
Which one is it? Let's see it. Is it in bandage?
It's the left hand.
Oh,
nah.
mate, it looks bad.
It looks horrendous, isn't it? Yeah.
Mate, you're going to need to go to
it's like a twig.
You can't. They're on strike, mate. You're going to have to just, like, self-medicate or something. Self-heal yourself.
Can you imagine if you got a World of Warcraft injury?
Yeah. Oh, my God, yeah.
It became a life-changing injury because they were on strike.
I'm living that right now. Don't have to imagine it.
Vinny.
Well, you
right.
Distract yourself by telling us about the greatest god and pray to them and hope that your World of Warcraft wrist is solved.
You've got WoW wrist.
I've got nerd wrist, mate. Yeah, does someone want to get a timer up for me? I can self-time if you can trust me. If you trust me.
For the timer.
What?
Mork is irresponsible with the timer.
Yeah, we don't let him touch anything.
Mork also speaks in the third person now.
Does
who let you out of your cage, Mork?
Mork chuckles.
I'm narrating as well now.
Mate, this is getting dangerously close to uwu, and I don't like it.
I don't get uwu. I don't understand what it is.
You are.
You're too old. You're too old. That's why.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah, I've got a timer. I just googled the word timer and it made me one.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it?
Speaking of crazy shit that you can just type in and it does it. Have you seen like chatbot.apg or whatever it's called?
No.
Like an AI chatbot?
AI chatbot. It's like OpenAI have made a chatbot. It's just insane. It's insane.
What can it do?
Like anything. Just like, right, let's see if I can do it. If it doesn't work, sorry, this is a ramble, isn't it?
This is a really bad ramble. This is completely nothing to do with the show whatsoever.
Wait. OpenAI, ChatGPT, try chatbot. Is it working? Proceeding. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, YouTube listeners. If you're listening to this on the podcast,
we don't have to do
this.
No, I'll cut this bit. Don't worry.
Oh,
okay.
Because so the YouTube video and the audio released podcast on Apple Podcast might not necessarily match up perfectly there.
No, not at all. They won't. Obviously, no.
Oh, but that's fine because people just listen however they want to listen.
I thought we were doing them all as the same thing. I thought that's why it's more efficient.
Oh, we can do. We could just do like but obviously it's difficult to edit if you guys don't have a video editor.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I was just thinking we don't edit very much.
Well, that is the plan, but I guess it might take a couple of weeks to get into that.
And also, we won't be able to do the fun bits.
What's the fun bits?
Like all the little zany like noises and that.
Oh right, yeah.
We would lose the zany noises. I think we just kind of carry on as is. We just say the YouTube is the unedited, raw, unplugged version.
Mm.
And then if you want to listen to the album as it was meant to be heard, go on Apple Podcasts.
Maybe not for this first one as we've gone on, but yeah, definitely. Like, let's make that the thing.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, chatbot.gbt isn't working, so let's just.
Yeah. So we record this like as close to as like we don't need to edit it as possible, but then we still do like a mini edit for the audio release, add in a few sound effects. It won't take very long either, will it? Because we won't have a ramble during the record, and then the video just goes out as normal. Like just bang, just send it out. Sweet. All right, let's do that. Right. Anyway. Except this bit for this one of this episode.
Okay.
Fucking cool. Vinny, go.
Right, Vinny, go.
I'm ready. Okay. So the god I'm going to talk about today, he wasn't born a god, but he earned it through sheer hard work, determination, and pure talent.
I'm already so suspicious.
And he completely changed the world as we know it.
No.
Upon his birth, he was called Edson Arantes do Nascimento, but he wouldn't keep this name for long. For once the world saw his awesome powers later on, they would crown him a new name. Pele. So first of all, I'm going to explain to you goal contributions per 90.
You bastard.
No, I'm joking.
Oh, thank God for that.
Thank Pele for that.
Thank Pele for that. May his golden ball shine down on us.
R.I.P.
No, right. But the real god.
I was fuming.
Oh, that was good, really well done.
No, but the real god I'll be talking about today, again, also actually wasn't born a god. He was born a mortal. And he was even born a hermaphrodite, if you can believe it. He was orphaned at a young age. And in his teenage years, he was part of a gang in which he stole, robbed, and even sold his body for prostitution, just so that he could live. That was until he met a soldier by the name of Nerevar, who saw something in this orphan. They became friends, and the orphan decided to take on a new name in the process. That being Pele. No, not Pele. That being Vivek. Now, Vivek also saw something great in Nerevar, as he would often talk about overthrowing the foreign overlords one day. And later on in their lives, Nerevar had progressed through the chain of command so much so that he had literally become the absolute military leader of his people, known as the Kaima. With the help of his friend Vivek, his wife Almalexia, and the scholar Sothasil, the Kaima retook their homeland for the people, and in doing so, Vivek and the two others were granted as Nerevar's closest advisors and became known as what's called the Tribunal. After a short period of peace, tensions started to rise between the Kaima and the people known as the Dwemer, when it was found out that the Dwemer had discovered the physical heart of a god known as Lorcan in the middle of a huge volcano in the center of the island next to the Kaima homeland, known as Red Mountain.
What the fuck are you talking about?
I'm talking about the goat gods.
Right.
What's confusing?
I just don't know who these people are. Is this Greek, Norse, Scout?
It's from a while ago. So.
Right.
Is this from League of Legends?
No, it's not from League of Legends.
Is it from a video game?
Vinny.
So anyway.
Oh, no.
It's somehow worse than Pele.
Yeah. You got me.
Oh, God.
I'm doing a Gandalf.
Yeah.
And I don't give a damn.
Going to season 3, kicking off in style.
We've literally start as we finish.
Torturing Sebek. Again and again, week after week after week.
God's sake. Right, carry on.
I'm interested. Tell us about the drama in the volcano. I want to know where this is going. What fucking game is this anyway? Is this Skyrim or some shit? I always say Skyrim and I'm always wrong.
It's the same series. It's Morrowind.
Sweet, let's go.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah, the Dwemer had developed special tools with great powers, which allowed them to utilize this heart of Lorkhan. And the power was seen as an abomination to the Khyber people and their religion. And also, because it was super powerful, they were a bit scared that they would be, enslaved again, basically. So, Nerevar decided to wage war on the Dwemer in an attempt to stop them from using this power. And once the Khyber people started marching upon Red Mountain, the High Priest of the Dwemer decided to utilize the tools as a last-ditch effort to try and win the war. But in doing so, the entire population, bar one of them, of the Dwemer, completely vanished in the process, never to be seen of and never to be heard of ever again. And if you've ever played Skyrim, you've come across Dwemer ruins, the Dwarven ruins, and like they were just left there because every single one of them, except for this one dude you meet in Morrowind, were all basically just completely vanished from the earth, like forever, and nobody knows why.
And they don't know where they've gone.
So you meet someone in Morrowind. So is he a Dwemer guy?
Yeah, you meet the
What
last
does he look like?
dwarf.
I've only ever played Skyrim, and you never see what they look like. It's always been left to the imagination.
This particular dwarf isn't in good shape when you meet him. Like, he's hundreds of years old.
Right,
and
yeah.
He basically contracted a disease which doesn't let him die. It's kind of like he's kind of like a living zombie.
Yeah.
And he's kind of kept in this chamber where like no one else can really see him. And he's got like his legs are like, the robot spider things you find in the Dwarven ruins.
Yeah.
Like his legs are like that, but he's like really, really like obese as well. Like he can't really move around much.
Him,
yeah.
Can you romance him?
It's like 0.0p because obviously
Unfortunately not.
Morrowind's like well old. It's just some little fat fuck on a spider.
Yeah. But even he's like, I don't know what the fuck happened. I like went out to get milk and everyone was gone. But yeah, so the Dwemer all fucked off. And now Dagoth, a loyal friend of Nerevar, was tasked with looking after the tools whilst Nerevar and his council decided what their fate would be. But much like the One Ring from Tolkien's Middle-earth, wink to Mork, that is. Throwback to Lord of the Rings. Pick Gandalf again, haven't you?
Goes away.
He's like, you fucking better not.
I swear to God, if you've not picked a real god, I will be fuming.
Dude, carry on.
I'm already annoyed.
It's fine, don't worry.
But yeah, much like the One Ring from Tolkien's Middle-earth book series, you might have heard of it. Dagoth became corrupted by the tools as he started to wield them for his own. When Nerevar and the council returned to the Red Mountain, they found Dagoth had gone mad and started calling himself Dagoth, like a supervillain or something.
Oh,
he refused to relinquish the Dwemer tools. They fought, and Dagoth was defeated. But in that fight, Nerevar also perished. Now, some sources stated that Nerevar was killed by Dagoth, but other sources actually state that it was actually his loyal council, that being Vivek, his wife Almalexia, and the scholar Sotha Sil, who saw their chance to wield this great power for themselves and murdered their trusted friend, breaking their oaths in the process. But now that Nerevar is dead, the tribunal were free to use the Dwemer tools to shed the robes of mortality and ascend to godhood. And when they returned to the Khyber people as living gods, they were worshipped as the succession of their traditional three deities. One of these deities, Azura, was so repulsed by this act that she cursed the entire Khyber race, turning their golden skin into an ashen grey skin. The Khyber had now become the Dunmer, or dark elves.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah. The three living gods kept their name as the tribunal, but essentially they became the people's new religion. And using their newfound powers, Almalexia decided to change her skin back to her original golden color. Sothasil kept his as grey, but Vivek, wanting to be part of all people, kept one half of his body grey, like the Dunmer, and returned the other half to being golden. So it was kind of like split down the middle as to represent all of his people, both old and new.
Which way did he split it? Did he do it like bottom half, top half, or down the middle?
No, like literally down the middle. Okay. Literally like down the middle.
He didn't like duck it.
Yeah, what are them goat men called? They're like a goat on the bottom, isn't it?
Oh, Centaur?
No, they're in Narnia.
Oh, fucking, what are they called?
Yeah. They're the only thing I can imagine that's split like midriff, up and down.
A fawn.
A fawn.
What about a mermaid?
Or a satyr.
Oh yeah, satyr. A mermaid as well.
Satyr, that's what I would have said, yeah.
Fish on the bottom.
But do you really want fish on the bottom?
I don't want to get into that.
Fish on both sides. Moving on.
I know what Vinny's into.
Vivek was more or less the head of this tribunal, and they ruled Morrowind as god kings for hundreds of years. And in that time, a new city was erected in Vivek's honor and was actually named after him, as well as becoming the new capital city of Vardenfall, which is the island in the middle of Morrowind. Vivek would live in the palace there, but then one day, the deity of chaos and I think insanity, Sheogorath, was bored silly and decided to throw a meteor down at this new city just for the fuck of it. and with a raise of his hand, Vivek stopped the meteor in the air and kept it floating above the city as a reminder of his awesome power. And also because he kind of held the city at gunpoint at that point, because how like deities work in Elder Scrolls is if they get a lot of their power from people believing them as being powerful, so they get a lot of power through like faith. So if the people were to stop believing in him being like this almighty being, his power basically wouldn't be able to hold up the meteor anymore and would then fall down and kill everyone. So he's kind of holding the entire city at gunpoint as well.
That's kind of cold. That is kind of cold.
It's pretty fucked. And his meteor was also later mined out and became a prison for people who opposed the new religion. It became known as the Ministry of Truth, and people would go there to get brainwashed into believing all sorts of shit. Now, Vivek even wrote his own sort of version of the Bible and distributed it to the dumber people, naming it the 36 Lessons of Vivek. And much like our real-world life Bible, the book contains stories and fables and proverbs, which shows Vivek's power, but also his love for his people, as well as being full of like metaphors and like moral stories, basically. And it's rumored that the real-life writer of the 36 Lessons of Vivek, a man named Michael Kirkbride, who did most of the lore for Morrowind, wrote the entire thing in a week-long binge of whiskey, amphetamines, and magic mushrooms within a motel room that he locked himself in.
Wow.
Sounds like every religious text ever written in real life.
You're more and more convincing me that this is a genuine religious text.
Only neckbeards believe this as a real religion and follow it really.
Now, one of these lessons, a particular lesson in particular, that was a good sentence. One of these lessons tells about how Vivek became the sort of wife of the deity of slavery, vampirism, and rape, known as Molag Bal. And in their time together, they had... Moving on from that.
Wait, he's cool in the game. Like, he gives you, in Skyrim, he like gets you in this house, then he like gives you this big mace.
Yeah.
And go and smash people. That was cool. He doesn't mention anything about rape in the game. I didn't know it was about rape.
But anyway, Vivek became the wife to this deity, and in their time together, they had enough sex for Vivek to birth thousands of their children before Vivek decided to bite off Molag Bal's penis and fashion it into a spear. He then used the spear to kill all of their children. I don't know what story, like moral, what you're supposed to get from that, but it's pretty fucked up, yo.
Yeah, sweet.
Sweet, dude.
Is that that's like the no Russian mission in Modern Warfare 2?
The mission you had to bite off Molag Bal's cock and fatten into a spear and then murder all his kids.
She's just like, remember, no Russian. Oh god, that's so funny.
Now, after the events of Elder Scrolls 3 Morrowind, whereby the reincarnation of Nerevar comes back to destroy the heart of Lorkhan and expose the tribunal for the liars and murderers they are, a trial was held against Vivek. And Azura herself actually showed up to this trial in her mortal form. But it turned out the whole thing was just a ploy by Vivek, as in the courtroom, he picked up his spear, which, as we know, was his cock spear. Yeah.
Is that made of his own cock?
No, made of Molag Bal's cock.
Oh, of course, made of Molag Bal's cock.
Yeah.
He shouted, "Guess what this represents?" And then he shoved the thing down Azura's throat, which killed her mortal self and banished her forever from the mortal plane.
She effectively, if we're being honest about it, she deep-throated a penis spear.
He throat fucked Azura to death, essentially.
Right. And is he the one? Are we just gonna say that he's the goat god? Is that what you're coming to here?
Yes.
For fuck's sake.
Vivek then disappeared from the world without a trace, meaning that the meteor that was held up by his magic in the capital city fell down to the earth, killing everyone in the city and causing Red Mountain to erupt, which then displaced the entire population of Ardenfall. The end.
The end.
But right, and you've not got long to do this, Vinny. I'm going to pause the timer and say you've got a minute and 30 seconds to wrap that all up into why on fucking God's earth you think he's the goat.
I just think he's a fascinating character, really. Yeah, because I tried to go down the traditional route of actually picking a mythological god, but I was so uninspired that when I had the idea to do this, I just went with it and I had fun doing it, and that's all that really matters. That's what matters.
Really matters. All right, well, fair play. Can you just,
Damn.
For me, this isn't coming out your time, you've run out of that, but can you just explain in like 10 seconds the story of this guy? So he's born, he's immortal, he's amortal, I should say.
Mm.
Then another guy steals a hammer. They steal the hammer back. They paint themselves half gold. He bites off a man's penis and turns into a spear, kills all his children, and then drops a meteor on a city.
More or less, yeah.
Okay, good. Well, I'm glad we're all on the same page.
I mean, this guy does sound pretty fucking sick.
Oh, and he also betrayed his friend.
He also betrayed his friend. What's his name? Vivek.
Vivek, yeah.
Vivek, right. Well, we'll put that in the Vivek pile. I want to say that pile currently is Vivek and Gandalf. So I'm excited to see what Mork brings to this. Is it going to be Vivek, Gandalf, and Messi, perhaps? I suspect it might be.
I hope it is.
Can I just say, if it is, I will walk off this show. But before we get to see my unbelievable outburst, if Michael has done what I think he's done.
You don't know that I haven't picked like Odin or something.
And I know you have. not.
How do you know?
Because I know you.
Well, maybe you don't.
This is episode 39.
37.
37. This is episode 37.
Yeah.
I know you. I know what you've done.
I might not have done that.
It's going to be messy. I'm 90% sure it's messy.
Well, it might not be. I wouldn't be taking that to the bookies.
Wouldn't be taking that to the bookies.
That classic saying, I wouldn't be taking that to the bookies. You've got to make sure it's written with a question mark. I wouldn't be taking that to the bookies.
That's the same, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if they did gambling adverts like that, like Harry Kane to score 1 to 3, I think 3 to 1, I wouldn't be taking that to the bookies. No one would bet again. They'd be like, what? They'd be like, what the fuck?
They would cure everyone.
All gambling stuff like that. They'd be like, what? I don't get it. No, I wouldn't be taking that to the bookies.
You're right.
I done it, guys. I solved gambling.
Right. Well, moving on. Welcome to the prestigious and long-awaited return of the middle bit.
The middle bit.
Ooh, it's the middle bit. Ooh, it's the middle bit. Ooh, it's the middle bit. Ooh, it's the middle bit. Middle bit. So, for the middle bit, I thought there was only one real way to go with this. You know how the Romans have lots of funny gods of stuff? Like they've got like a god of fucking flower pots and that.
Yeah.
Just fucking get them all on a big list and get you to guess them.
Sweet.
So, question 1. I'm going to let Michael answer this because, quite frankly, right now he's in my better books because I haven't just listened to 15 minutes of him talking about a fictional religion from a video game. We'll see how that goes. That could all turn on its head quite quickly. So, Mork.
Yes.
The Roman goddess Cloacina, 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 I don't know. Was she A, the Roman goddess of the sewers, B, the Roman goddess of penis washing, C, the Roman goddess of bats?
Of bats?
Yeah, like bats.
I think sewers. Penis washing, that's ridiculous. Bats. There could be one of bats, but I feel like it would have like a batty name. Like a name about like no, don't like a Halloweeny name.
Like a bat-like name.
A bat-like name. Like Nocturnal Darkness. Goddess of bats or something.
Why would their name be English?
Yeah, but like Roman version of that.
Well,
what's Roman?
Be...
What's Latin for bat?
Like Batimus or something.
That also sounds like a slur. God, he's a bit of a Batimus.
No, it's
be
not bad.
Right.
Sewers.
Okay. Well, I can confirm. Unfortunately, you're right.
Yes.
She was the goddess of the sewers, and more importantly, keeping them clean. Because at the time, as you discussed at great length in your greatest empire, they had the most sophisticated sewers in the world, and they had to keep them clean because they're full of shit.
Yes, they are. Sewers are full of shit and fatbergs.
Indeed. So, Vinny, question number 2. The Roman god Robogius, or Robigus, the Roman god Robigus, is he A, the god of sick llamas, B, the god of cheese, or C, the god of diseased cornfields?
Pick one.
I've given you all the information you need.
Robugius.
Robugius. C.
Wait, no, they didn't have cornfields, did they? Hang on. No. They didn't have llamas, did they? What? They have llamas or cornfields, did they? I thought corn was an American thing. And then llamas are also an American thing, aren't they? Like South America.
What's the other one?
Cheese was the other one.
So yeah, cheese.
I'm just going to say cheese.
Is Michael double bluffing you because he knows the answer is
How the fuck
llamas.
am I supposed to know Rubugius?
I'm just going to go cheese just on the fact that I don't think the Romans had llamas and cornfields.
Okay, well, Vinny, I've got some good news. For Michael, I can confirm you're wrong. He was the god of diseased cornfields. He watched over the cornfields with his sister Robogio.
Robogio. Robogio. What the fuck name is that?
I don't know. It sounds like a Pokemon. I don't get it. I don't know if they had cornfields. According to Google, they did. Okay.
Robogio, Robogius, Robogamax.
It's just like a slightly more diseased piece of corn every single time.
Yeah. Until it's literally just mold on the floor.
Oh,
All the corn's gone. It's got two eyeballs on it.
It's just a corn on the cob with eyeballs in a wheelchair. It's a very sickly corn on the cob.
A big fat corn on the cob with spider legs.
But like the corn is like decaying in the middle, so it like looks like a bald patch.
He's like losing his hair.
Yeah, but it's corn.
Oh
Hey, Game Freak, hit us up. We will design your Pokemon for you.
Right. Question number 3. And this goes back to Morky Morkison. Sterculus. Sorry. I should be better at this. But yeah. I don't read them out loud until I read them to you. Sterculus.
Sterculus. Oh, yeah.
Is he A, the god of poo? B, the god of jizz? Or C, the god of noses?
Oh, is he the god of jizz? No, he's not the god of jizz. There's no god of jizz. The god of poo. I think he's the god of poo. I think so.
Well, I've got some good news.
Oh god, it doesn't mean anything.
For you, Mork, it is the god of poo. He was the god of all things toilet related and manure.
Sweet.
And manure. So there's a little fun fact for you. At home, start writing all these down because you can wow the significant other in your life, or if you want to get a significant other, maybe just pull these out at a local bar or any kind of social situation.
Timber, yeah.
And you're gonna weed out the nice ones.
Yeah, did you know Robogius was the god of corn?
Diseased corn, actually.
If that's their response, they're a keeper.
And also, if they then laugh when you go, but what about Robogamax? Propose. You found yourself a winner. So, question number 4. This is for V-Dog, and to be honest with you, to keep you in the game here, because you're on no points and Michael's on 2 points. Aristeus.
What if points are bad?
The god Aristeus. Was he A, the god of masturbation, B, the god of cheese, or C, the god of fish?
Gotta be cheese. I can't get wrong cheese twice in a row. It's not possible.
Okay,
cheese has never let me down.
Well, can cheese strike twice? No, it can't. You're right.
Oh, yes.
Cheese right.
Jesus, Vinny, well done.
He was the rustic god of shepherds, beekeeping, and most importantly, cheese making.
Beekeeping?
Yeah. Oh, beehive. So, question number 5. Michael.
Such a dad joke.
For point number 3 for you. The god Bacchus. Was he A, the god of dinner parties, B, the god of political parties, or C, the god of arty farties?
Political parties.
The fuck's an arty farty?
Just like arty people, you know? Just people who go like,
It's a derogatory term for people who are into art. I know, he's being very slanderous.
Sorry, I can only apologise. Well, I can also apologise to you because you're getting no points. Bacchus was the god of dinner parties and wine and pleasure.
Oh, god damn it, Bacchus.
You've mugged yourself off. So you're now still on 2 points.
For a draw.
And V-Dog, you can win this back if you can tell me what Devera was the goddess of. Was she A, the goddess of moons, B, the goddess of spoons, or C, the goddess of brooms?
You're going to say goons. Like thugs.
The kind of guys who say, I can hear the Batman.
I like to think there's only one moon orbiting this Earth. And they probably didn't know about moons, like in actual moons back then. What was the second one again? Spoons.
Spoons or brooms. Moon, spoons, brooms.
Or brooms. I'm gonna go with spoons.
Are fucking weird, man.
You're gonna go for spoons.
I'm gonna go for spoons.
Oh. I've got some good news. For Michael.
Yes.
It was brooms. She was the goddess of brooms, specifically the brooms used to purify Roman temples.
Vinny,
I knew that. It was on the tip of my tongue.
That. Brooms, man.
Do you know what? Because I'm an exciting guy, and because I'm feeling crazy, I'm just going to use up the tiebreaker that I already wrote, and I'm going to say Vinny V-Dog middlemost. For the chance to draw, you both got to buzz in when you think you've got the right answer. Michael, if you make the noise, you'll be disqualified.
Why?
The Roman god Inus. Was Inus A, the god of sex, B, the god of fertility, C, the god of livestock, or D, all of the above?
All of the above.
Michael takes the win all the way home. It was all of the above.
Yes.
Inus was the god of sex, fertility, and livestock. Hopefully not all at the same time.
You wouldn't have included all of the above in your answers if it wasn't going to be that.
But then imagine if I had and it wasn't it, and I just fucking tricked you.
And you'd be far cleverer than I. But nay.
Hashtag regrets. Hashtag regrets. Can we all just hold a big... No, anyway. So... With that over and done with, shall we hear what you, Michael, have brought to the table for the greatest god? And I still maintain that if it is Lionel Messi, I will jump out of a window.
Okay. Well, the first god that... Are you timing me?
Yeah, of course I'm timing you.
The first god that I thought about doing was not Lionel Messi. Obviously, that would be stupid. I thought about doing Eru Iluvatar, the god from Tolkien's work, because a little bit like Vinny, if all gods are fictional, does it really matter who wrote them down? Probably not. I was like, I'll do that. And then I was like, nah, probably not. And then I was like, oh, should I do the Roman gods, some kind of god of war or something? And I was like, oh, should I do the god of war? And I was like, no, because he's not actually a real god either. So then I was like, oh, thinking about it. And I discovered who I should do. A real and true actual god. Not from this world, not from this realm, from another plane of existence. So incredibly powerful that his powers cannot be fully explained in words. And this man, this god, was born in Rosario, Argentina, and his name is Lionel Andres Messi, the true god of football. And he... sent down from heaven to play football. He has scored 793 goals in 1,003 appearances so far, playing the majority of his football in Barcelona. But where does his story start? Well, like I said, he was born in Rosario, Argentina on the 24th of June, 1987. Oh, fucking with you, Seb. I haven't really picked Messi. Look at him.
My face has gone red. I'm so annoyed. I hope you're proud.
Oh,
You've just shaved an hour off my life of stress.
Yeah, me and Vinny, we did kind of orchestrate the Pele Messi. Psych, but no, I have not actually picked Messi. You'll be very glad to hear, although he is the god of football and we're not here otherwise. No, I have picked, you'll be very glad to hear, Seb, a real god. Well, not real, you know, if none of them are real, but he's real to me. He's cool. He sat atop a mountain. He had abs of steel, long white hair, and he threw fucking thunderbolts. Of course, I'm talking about Zeus, the Greek king of the gods. And this is, Seb, this is real. I'm actually not joking now. I've actually picked Zeus, okay?
Cool.
Panic over. Stop your pacemaker, don't worry, mate. But who is Zeus? Where did he come from? Well, to understand that, you need to understand a little bit about the Greek origin story. There was, in the beginning, Uranus and Gaia, the god of creation and the god of, like,
Who's
space,
anus?
I guess. Uranus.
My anus.
They had children, one of them being
Vinny looks so unimpressed.
It's just such an easy joke that I'm bored by that joke. I'm so bored by that joke.
I'll cut it. I'll just cut it.
Just
one of their children was Kronos, and Gaia told Kronos that in order to become the true god and overtake his father Uranus, what he needed to do was cut off Uranus's cock and balls and throw them into the sea, which he did, and then like out of the boiling blood came like a bunch of other gods and titans and stuff, one of them being Aphrodite, if I'm saying that name right, which is the goddess of sex and shit. She came from the cock and balls of Uranus, which is
no, she wasn't.
Funny.
She wasn't the god of shit. We remember we've
already discussed the god of shit.
Discussed the god of shit.
Was
for God's sake, yes,
Stericulus.
Yes,
obviously.
The god of love and shit. I know what I said.
Poopy Poobius.
Poobius.
So Kronos took his mantle as the king of gods, and he started having children with Rhea, who was his wife, and there was a prophecy foretold that said that Kronos would eventually be overthrown by his father as well, by his children as well, just like his father was. So what Kronos did was he decided to just eat his children as soon as they were born, which he did. However, when it got to the last born child, Rhea decided, you know what, fuck that, I'm not going to let him eat this one. So he gave him a rock in a blanket, and he was foolish, and he just ate that. And so Rhea took Zeus, the child, to be raised on the island of Crete until he could become a man and get his full godly powers. What Zeus then did was he tricked Kronos into drinking some poison, which made him throw up all of his brothers and sisters, just spew them all over the floor. And they had a big, massive fight. Zeus led them to the win, and they sent Kronos to Tartarus, which is like beneath the underworld. It's like actual hell in like Greek mythology. The underworld's like purgatory, I would guess, and then like Tartarus is like actual hell. Zeus then rose to power, leading the Olympians, as they would now be called, to victory, and he took a seat on the throne of Mount Olympus. He then gave the sea, the power of the sea, to his brother Poseidon, and the power of the underworld to his brother Hades. So after rising to power, Zeus would then face an incredibly tough test. Gaia, who was the mother of Kronos, she was a bit pissed off that her son was sent to Tartarus, and she was like, yeah, that's a bit fucked up, mate. Like, I know he like ate you lot and that, but like that's a bit too far. You know, you can't do that. So what she did, she went and she shagged Tartarus, which is confusing because Tartarus is a place, but it's also like a person, which is, it's a bit confusing, but like whatever. They shagged. She had a baby called Typhon, And Typhon was a giant serpent-winged dragon with 100 heads and fire coming out of his mouth and everything else.
So that'd be horrific to pop out.
Yeah, I put in the notes. Bet that was an interesting night in the hospital.
Can you imagine? They're like, oh, we can see a head.
Hell.
See 2 heads. Fuck me, is there 100 more heads there?
Are they spitting fire? Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
It's just like they're coming out with their diss tracks and their mixtape.
One of them's Kanye.
Dungeons of Rap. Yeah, Hell is his literal father as well, which is like mind blown. Sounds like some Elder Scrolls bollocks, but this was real. People actually believe this shit, which is nuts. Anyway, Typhon was sent to overthrow Zeus as revenge for what he'd done to Kronos. All the other gods, they're like, oh, fuck this shit. You know, have you seen this geezer? He's got 100 heads and he's spitting fire. We're out. They bounced. They went straight to Egypt. They were like, screw this. So they leave Zeus to just 1v1 me, bro, on Rust with Typhon. Nice. A big fight ensues, but obviously Zeus is a fucking badass, so he just thunderbolts him in the face and blows him up, and that's the end of that. All the other gods are then like peek behind the corner and they're like, oh, he actually fucking won. Sick, right? This is a leader we can get behind. And then like the Iliad or whatever, like the power structure of Mount Olympus was like fully realized, and that's how Zeus became the king of gods and rose to power and took his seat at the top of Mount Olympus. But what was he like as a god? Well, obviously he was very powerful. He could defeat monsters, and he defeated titans, he defeated giants, he could smash the shit out of other gods. What about in the bedroom? Could Zeus smash? Yes. Yes, he can. He did a lot of smash. His first wife, Metis, that was a pretty short marriage, because Zeus was also told that his father and his father before him were all, betrayed by their sons. So what he did was he ate his wife before she could give birth to any children, so that he would break the curse of the thing. So he just ate her.
That's ingenious. That's such a reason. Like, we'd all do the same.
Yeah, that was it.
I heard you've been trying to eat Jen most evenings.
Ages. Yeah. But the thing is he ate her, but then Athena, the god of war, birthed out of his forehead somehow, like because of that. But it didn't matter. Like the prophecy was already broken because he just like ate her and that, so it was all good. Like somehow I don't really know that bit, to be honest. It's a bit confusing. So anyway, he had a few more wives, like 6 more, and he had like bare children with these like Apollo, Creed, and Artemis. They were his kids. But his 7th wife.
No, Apollo, Creed.
Yeah, Apollo, the god Apollo.
I don't know if Apollo had a second name, and I don't know if he fought Rocky Balboa.
Yeah.
What do you mean? Apollo, Creed, and Artemis
Wait a minute.
Look, they were his kids.
Artemis Fowl.
Look, it's funny to make jokes about these names because they're so popular everywhere.
And Hades nuts.
That would be so funny if Hades had his nuts chopped off and turned into like bowling balls, and then Zeus used those bowling balls to like do a strike against Tartarus, and like that sent Tartarus to Tartarus 2. And he was gone forever, and hell was vanished, and all sin was like cleansed, and humanity lived forever peaceful, prosperous. That would be a good addition to the story. All right, I'm gonna write that down. I'm gonna send that to the Greek lads and be like, oh, listen, thought about this.
Send it off to the Greek lads.
This would be good, I think.
Most of whom have been dead for about 2,000 years.
Yeah, whatever.
Well, actually, no, there are. Yeah.
Regardless, so he's Apollo, Creed, and Artemis Fowl are born. But his 7th wife, this is the most famous and most notable wife of Zeus's, and the one that was with him by his side for the longest, the rest of his life, really. Hera, who is the goddess of women, marriage, children, and protector of women during childbirth. And interestingly enough, she was also eaten by Kronos and Chunder dragon everywhere. So she's actually his sister, which is cool, I guess. Yeah, bit Game of Thronesy. Interestingly as well, he also wanted to marry his mother, Gaia, at one point, or Rhea, or I can't remember who. Zeus. Gaia. He was like, he was like, yeah, I'll just marry her. Like, she's powerful, sweet.
Did they have marriage? The ancient Greeks.
Yeah, because Zeus and Hera's marriage, it was a bit ropey. It started pretty well. The wedding feast lasted 3,000 years. So
we've all been there. Christmas.
Yeah, exactly. Fucking hell, you know, beers were flowing all night long. But Zeus, he was married to the goddess of marriage, but actually he cheated on her basically all the time with no break, fathering literally hundreds of children with gods, half-gods, mortals, and even monsters. Zeus basically fucked everything. Yeah, he's very, very flawed. This actually led to a coup orchestrated by Hera. It was like they tried to put him to sleep. They were like, oh, wait till he's asleep. And then they put chains on him. And then all the gods were like discussing, oh, how are we going to like take over and that? And then one of them was like, nah, Zeus is the true god. So she like went down into the sea and that and got this like monster who's got like 100 hands, and he came up and like broke the chains, and Zeus was like, what the fuck are you lot doing? And they were like, oh, we're like really sorry and that. And then I was like, that was it. That's true.
We're like really sorry in that.
That really happened. That actually really happened. That really happened.
I can just imagine that. Or like r/today I fucked up. Today I fucked up by chaining my husband up.
I realised I made a mistake.
Am I the arsehole? but then I got a big sea monster to release him. Am I the arsehole?
It's not a sea monster, they're called the 100-handers. They're actually called the 100-handers. They're these like titans from the olden days who like have 100 hands in that. They came up and they broke the chains and they were like, let him out. Because he was the most powerful 100-hander. Now he's like Zeus's best mate.
Right.
He's like best man at his wedding and that. Anyway, but Zeus had
to get him a suit with 100 arms.
Zeus had many children, right? Like they estimate around 93 children, something like that. Not all were gods, most were like mortals or demigods or whatever. But most notable, Heracles, who interestingly is actually Hercules. The Romans renamed him, and ever since everyone's just referred to him as Hercules. Even when he's being portrayed as Greek, they just call him Hercules, but he's not. He's actually called Heracles. So that Disney movie should be called Heracles, and like Danny DeVito should be singing Heracles the song or whatever. I can't remember how the song goes. You know, Danny DeVito's like the little goat man. You know, in it. Have you seen that film?
Was he in the film?
He's a
in the film. He's a little goat. Yeah.
I was a joke about him being a tiny little goat man. Anyway, carry
on. Pan, who we've discussed, he's a goat and a man, which is that's a good segue. Pan.
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 Like a frying pan.
Yeah.
Who named him?
Labyrinth.
Frying Pan's Labyrinth. Terrible name.
Helen of Troy, who led
Helen?
to the War of Troy.
That's like an actual name, Helen.
I know.
What the fuck?
He's got all these kids. Hercules. Pan,
well, let's go
Helen.
through them. We've got Heracles,
Katie.
Pan, Orion, Perseus, Hermes, and Helen of Troy. That's
Hermes
some of the most notable ones.
Orion and Helen.
Brian.
Brian and Helen.
Hermes was his kid.
They're just a normal family just trying to get through.
Well, like the Greek mythology stuff should be a sitcom. It's so funny. Like it's so ridiculous. Everyone's just eating their wives or their children and then like getting monsters to do their bidding and shit. It's mad stuff. It's crazy stuff. It
sounds like a horrifying sitcom.
So
eating their children.
Yeah, it's just in a funny way.
Eating their children and fucking their sisters. It's horrible.
And then it just cuts to Brian and Helen, and they're just like trying to get the fucking Skydish to work. Like, you need a broom. Just poke it with a no.
You're the god of brooms.
Get the god of brooms.
Yeah, he just comes in, fucking brooms it. Like, I have done my job.
It's like, thanks, we couldn't get Dave Jarvu.
Dave Jarvu.
At the end of every episode, Zeus just thunderbolts it because he's pissed off, which does happen in Greek mythology stuff all the time. But that's where we're at. Like Zeus was a controversial god, right? He was praised for his strength and his wisdom, his ability to like withstand the throne despite all these coups and people trying to take power from him. He always had like the best interest of humanity at hand. Like Poseidon once said he could have taken the throne if he wanted, but he had no interest in it. He thought Zeus was a good leader. Poseidon was probably more powerful than Zeus. So he's flawed. And because of this, he appeared more human. He was swayed to temptation. He wasn't necessarily omnipotent and godlike like many modern day deities are nowadays. And people really related to him. And I think that makes him a little bit more believable, you know, all this mad shit about eating his wife and stuff. It's a little bit more like, I can see why people did relate to that, and it's lasted for a long time. I think that makes him pretty goated.
You can see why people relate to eating their children.
Have you ever been so hungry that you've looked at your kid and just thought,
you know what?
I'm not gonna, but I could.
I could.
Not literally eating of the kids, but like they just did stupid shit. Like all these gods are just doing stupid shit for like wanting the power and stuff, and it's like, yeah, it's a bit comical, but like it's not so super far fetched. Like, oh, just God just knows everything and does everything for like no reason. It's just like super powerful, like blah blah blah. He's not really overpowered. Zeus isn't really overpowered in that way. He's a bit more grounded. And, you know, he was a great ruler. He faced every challenge to his rule head on, continued to rule effectively for eternity, because technically Greek mythology never ended. It never was like a big climax. It just sort of stopped when the Christians came around, and they persuaded everyone the opposite. They were like, your gods are like basically people. They're like lust and stuff. Like, that's so stupid. If they were gods, they'd be like goddy. You know, they'd like do all this shit, and everyone was like, oh yeah, fair enough. So they just like stopped believing in it. And they were like, well, okay, fair enough. I guess Jesus is our savior. Hallelujah. And they were just happy days. But I think that's it. I think that's why Zeus is the absolute GOAT. Like, he's the most powerful of all the Greek gods. He basically have anyone in a fight. He destroyed a 100 million headed typhoon dragon thing. He could definitely batter whoever Vinny said. He'd probably eat that guy's kids or something. And the story of him and how he came about and like his whole life story is so complicated and crazy. It's just absolutely goated. And one of his kids is half goat, so you know, there we go.
I like it. I really like it. The thing that we have to come back to is where we started. Who has the coolest powers? Who has the sickest origin story? And who has the tightest abs? Now, what was your guy called, Vinny? Vickery? Vivek. I knew it began with a V. Vivek, origin story was long. Definitely had that going for it. There's a lot going on there. And in terms of powers, he does wield another man's penis. And if that's not pretty, that's quite alpha. That is quite alpha. On the other hand, Zeus also has a very good origin story. Also, pretty cool powers. But something people don't really know about Zeus, his thunderbolts, not made by him, made by the Cyclopses. So he just throws them about.
And later on, Hermes made them. No, not Hermes. Like some Smith guy. Sorry.
Not Hermes.
Ignore I said that. It's the god of smithing or some shit. Yeah, I know. Yeah.
Now, the other thing about Zeus, did fuck a lot of his kids. Didn't he? If we're being honest, he did fuck a lot of them.
I didn't read any about the kid fucking bit, but like.
Well,
yeah,
not
like
kids,
it was
but
a
he fucked
bit
his
of
own children.
It's a
like everybody fucked their own kids. Like everybody in Greek mythology fucked their own kids and their mum. They're like they don't really have mums and dads and sisters and brothers. They're just deities. Do you know what I mean? It's like fine.
Okay, well,
we'll they're really grounded though.
You
said they're basically just like us.
You said that when you heard about Zeus fucking his own kids and his mum, you related to that.
You want to have a little nibble of your child?
You said it brought you down to earth. You said that's what made it down to earth, was he fucked his kids. So
no, I was making comparison to the fact that he's flawed. Like he does human behaviors, like make mistakes.
Like fuck his
kids. We all do it from time to time. Let's not lie.
Why are you getting on that? That's not what I said.
Okay. Whereas, what was his name? Vivek. He also, not a great guy. He did hold a city hostage with a meteor and force them to believe in him. He did then kill them all just out of spite by shoving a giant penis spear down someone's neck.
No, that didn't kill them. That killed the mortal.
But I thought when you said it killed her mortal form, it also destroyed him, and that's what released the giant boulder.
No. He killed her because he didn't like her, and she's kind of a dick anyway.
But why did he release the boulder?
Well, he just fucked off. Basically, he left that plane of existence. He was like, because his powers were gonna go anyway, and he was like, I might as well just fuck off while I still have these powers.
Fair play. Okay, so kind of selfish.
Yeah.
Again, did he fuck his kids?
No.
Zeus didn't do that. It didn't.
Look, we're just trying to come to an answer here, Michael. There's no point you defending the kid fucking. We just got to accept it for what it is and move past it. He might still be the GOAT. You know, a lot of people say Michael Jackson is the greatest pop star. He fucked kids.
Allegedly.
Not allegedly. No, but we need to come to a conclusion. And my conclusion is this.
Oh, is it going to be messy?
my personal pick, because I'm a big fan of the old Godaroos, would have been Prometheus, who gave the fire of human imagination to humanity.
Oh, yeah.
That would have been a good pick.
I heard about that. That's Greek as well, isn't it? That's cool.
Neither of you picked it, so that's gone down.
One of us should have hosted.
Yeah.
Yeah. Zeus would have had him. Do you know what I mean?
Well, him and Zeus did fall out quite badly, actually.
Yeah.
They were like best mates, and then Zeus was like, "Fuck off, mate! You gave fire to humanity. You're not my boy no more." And he was like, "Mate, I'm sorry, but # worth it." So, but no, they're not the options we've been given. The options we've been given are Vivek, a god from a story game, from a video game, or Zeus, a god from Greek mythology. Now, I'm going to say this. I think Vivek has a lot going for him. First and foremost, didn't fuck any kids. However,
it's a positive.
When I think of a god, I probably would think of Zeus. Now, it is an easy answer. It was probably the easiest answer of them all. When you think of a god, you go for Zeus. But is there anything wrong with that? When you think of a great football player, you go to Ronaldo. When you think of a great tennis player, you go to Novak Djokovic. And when you think of a god, you go to Zeus. So, what I'm going to say is this. My hearing is as follows. The greatest god of all time is Zeus. However, I want to give a big credit to your man who took a bunch of mushrooms in a hotel room and came up with a religious narrative that was almost as compelling as that of an entire civilization.
Yeah,
that is so impressive.
I think that's the most interesting thing. Like that whole Vivek thing. If you said that was Greek mythology and then start spouting my nonsense, you wouldn't know the difference.
No, you wouldn't. And I think the only reason I picked Zeus is because of the symbolism that comes with it. A lot of people know who he is, and it's like he is, when you think, if you had to draw a god, even if, to be honest with you, I think if a lot of people drew quote unquote God, like Judeo-Christian God, they'd draw that kind of big hench older bloke, big beard, big fucking thing, big lightning bolt. Like that's what people think of, and that's great. He is the GOAT. But I really do think, I can't remember what you said his name was, but to be able to sit in a hotel room and write a narrative that compelling about
especially the dick spear.
The dick spear
is so good.
That's so good. Where did he pull that from?
It's just weird moral-in-law.
But I just think that's great.
And it's the same dick that fathered all the kids that he then used the dick spear to kill them all with. That's so good.
Yeah, I think it's because Moonlight Ball took him as like his rape victim, kind of. So he was like, to spite him, I'm going to kill all your kids and bite off your cock.
What a twist!
So good,
what a twist!
Yeah.
I mean,
imagine that as a Game of Thrones like episode end, that you'd be like gobsmacked.
Cersei fashions a spear out of Tywin Lannister's cock.
Stretches it.
But did it have the balls on the end?
Woo, woo, woo.
Yeah,
Like she's spinning like a pizza dough. She's doing tricks. It's like rolling around here. No, anyway, yeah. So that's my conclusion. Zeus is the greatest god of all time, closely followed by Vivek. I think Vinny, you did a great shout and actually brought a really compelling story, considering it wasn't something that existed until 15 years ago.
20.
Fuck.
It came out 2002, 2003.
Okay, well
there you go.
That's terrifying in its own way. But yes, so with that, does anyone have anything else to say or do?
Thank you very much for the win. First episode back after the break. Welcome back, listeners. I hope to finish this season top of the table. Let's see if I can do it.
We take it one game at a time.
Keep taking it one game at a time. Come on, Morgan FC fan.
Listening to the gaffer.
We got it. We got the tactics bang on today. We hit him with the old rope for dope. We gave him Messi, but we delivered Zeus.
Mate, that is what it is. I think I was just
Greatest
so relieved.
Of all time.
I was so relieved that you didn't pick Messi, that you could have said fucking anyone. I was like, oh, great.
Yeah. I could have gone Tolkien.
You could have. Anyway.
What's funny is I was actually gonna pick Kronos.
Were you?
You know, Zeus's dad. Yeah, and then I
fucking sick.
But then I was like, I don't know. I just didn't think it was that interesting. It's like, other than that story, that's the only thing going for him. He's got one cool backstory, and that's it.
And also, they cut his cock off and chucked it in the sea.
No, that was Uranus.
That was Uranus, yeah.
That was his dad. They just made him chum the dragon all the kids, and then Zeus fucked him up.
Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm with you. Sorry. Yes,
yeah.
He didn't have his penis cut off. Well, that's good news. With that, if you want to watch this episode in all its somewhat unedited glory, obviously I will cut out the bit where Michael was quite racist.
Yeah, that bit was pretty fucked up.
Yeah, no. You just
shouldn't have him back on the show.
You can't say that anymore.
Let's kick him on the show.
It's not the 50s anymore, mate.
I didn't mean it like that. I just meant,
Can't say that about black trans women.
Oh, God, please, no, don't actually say something. That looks like people start assuming things now. No, cut bits that I've said and fill in the blanks. I'm like, the goddess of bats, all this shit.
Well, indeed. So if you want to watch it, do that. If you want to listen to more episodes, just fucking subscribe on your podcast player of choice and go back and listen to the fucking 36 episodes that came before this. Turn up next week to listen to some other shit.
Goat brand deal.
Can't wait for that one. Change that one. You want to do that one?
Why was I so insistent?
I don't know. I actually said it. I said brand deal as a complete joke, and then your eyes lit up, Sebek. You were like, "Yes, we'll do it," and I was like, "Okay, I guess it's a good idea."
The thing is I remember being excited, but I can't remember why. So tune in next week to listen to us ramble on about the greatest ridiculous sport, i.e., that one where they run down a big hill, or when they put tadpoles in their fucking wellies and have a wank or whatever, or fucking ruin
tadpole welly wanging.
Tadpole welly wanging.
Sport. Have you ever heard of extreme ironing? That's a real thing. That's the thing where you do ironing on a mountain and take a picture of you and that.
Well, I look forward to this.
What about hand egg?
Michael. Okay.
But do you know they actually call it football, even though they don't use their feet and it's not a ball, it's an egg. Did you know that? It's ridiculous. How ridiculous is that?
I made that joke not but 2 minutes ago, you bastard. Okay, moving on. We'll see you next week. Have a really great welcome back from the international break. And I don't know, fucking tell all you boys. Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
Love you, bye.
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 Bye.